and today I'm going to be talking about population growth in the ancient times, one point in history, which is the baby boom, and today. So, in the ancient times, it took hundreds and thousands of years for people to hit 1 billion because no one really knew each other or like different civilizations. So it was also a challenge like settling down because the landscape would determine where they lived, because like there were no roads, no tunnels, or anywhere to stay because when they have obstacles such as like seas or rivers or mountains. And basically the landscape would always determine where they live. That's why most civilizations live near rivers, because that would benefit them. So the impact is that when there are more people, such as Mesopotamia, it leads to division of labor or like more development. So since there were more people, there needed to be more jobs and also more production. And that also led to rise of city-states. And the city-states grew around temples, and they were called ziggurats. And more people would mean more demand, and people would have to like work harder. And in Rome, since there were so many soldiers, they literally could like control the Mediterranean area. And so basically, in the ancient times when there were more people, it led to like development for the country, which would pretty much benefit them. So in the baby boom, it's like the baby boom means there's a time period where the amount of births like suddenly rise really high, and that was after the World War because people had to like families had to go together, and then they started to reproduce, and then they had babies. So the birth increased a lot because people started to become happy and they could go back to their families again. And it all started with like an army, and they got a Bill of Rights, and that Bill of Rights said that they could like have an education, have homes, and they could like have families, so that kind of brought it up. So at first, in 1944, there were 28.5 million births, and then at 1946, it came up to 27 million births. So that's kind of a big difference. But the births were at 30 million in the Industrial Revolution around like, late, like at 1909. So, but before the war, it was 18.5, so it went up and down. And the impacts are that it gives higher rates and expectancies, so such as the family size, the rates went up, the marriage rates, people got married more and more, and the life expectancy, because there was development in like the medical area and stuff. And this led to more supply and demand, so they needed more space and facility to people, like such as homes and different places. And they needed supplies such as furniture or more things to benefit like living. And this also led to development or like futuristic ideas such as retirement homes and technology. Things start to get like better quality, and also like different forces like communication or transportation. Everything started to improve because there were more people to contribute ideas and work together. And this is the graph for the baby boom. So as you can see, like 1909, it was at 30 million, and yeah. And the blue part is like the baby boom time period, which is from 1944 to 1964. So today, we have got, as you all know, the population is now 7 billion and counting. And since the population is rising so much, there's like instantly more and more demand. So a lot more people need demand for food, water, and fossil fuels. And the demand depends on the level of consumption, and the level of consumption is deferred like differently according to economic status. So like if, for example, USA has like a really good economic status, then they would have like a lot of consumption. And the impacts today are that it leads to environmental issues such as pollution and for like air, the oxygen, animals, habitats, and also like different species, because we're taking up so many resources, we aren't thinking about the big consequences, the long-term consequences. And obviously the supply and demand has risen so much because there needs to be more jobs, and there needs to be more facilities and homes and more products goods because people are purchasing so much, and that also leads to economic growth. So the economy rises because of the consumption, and it also leads to a bigger gap between the rich and the poor because the more we consume resources, the more there is less for the people who aren't as fortunate as we are. So there's like a bigger gap between the rich and the poor. And there's also development, so like technology, there's iPads, iPhones, everything is developed. And yeah, now people are thinking of solutions such as less consumption and working out together to manage the population growth, which is rising really quickly. So, thank you.